In this video, I can only use the copper shortsword. The twist is, it's upgradable. For every single point of damage that I do, this sword gets more and more powerful. How far will I get into the game? You're gonna have to find out. The first thing I ended up doing the second I loaded into the world is I started making up base camp. This was basically just going to end up being some NPC housing. I wasn't putting too much effort into this. I was never going to be here. Then I headed straight to a cave that was on my left and I ended up finding an aglet. I equipped it because I had nothing else to put on my accessories. I went further down the cave and I came across a minecart track. I went down it, I ended up finding a golden chest. I opened it up and found a cloud in a bowl. This would be great for my movement early game. On the first night, I realised the copper shortsword is terrible, even with how the mod can upgrade it. At the early game, it's still the base copper shortsword, and that's terrible. No one uses this sword. I kept dying left and right, and I had to figure out a way to be able to upgrade the sword without actually taking any damage. After a while of struggling, I came up with this box strategy. As long as I stood in the middle, they couldn't hit me. I also did this in the corruption later on. This was my main way of getting XP to upgrade the sword. After the first night, I headed back down to the caves. I was using a splunker potion, and I came across another chest. This chest had a teleportation potion, in which I used, it teleported me to the far side of the corruption. This is where I set up a new box, and I started farming enemies just all over again. After a while, I killed one, and it actually dropped an ancient shadow helmet. That was some pretty good armor for early game. I repeated this cycle for a couple days and nights until I got to a high enough level where I thought I could fight the Eye of Cthulhu. So after a couple more hours, after just coming back after leaving the caves from searching for heart crystals and armor, I decided to give it my best shot, and well, let's just say it didn't go to plan. Yeah, this is where I realized this challenge was going to be a lot more difficult than it actually was. So I grinded for a couple more hours and I came back and I decided it's time. I refuse to lose to this thing again. That fight honestly went on for way too long. It was like 15 minutes. I had to keep using recall potions, but it was worth it. I finally beat it. Now I had the Shield of Cthulhu and I had some Demonite bars. All I had to do now was head over, beat the Eater of Worlds, and I could get a set of Shadow Armor. So that's what I did. I was filled with confidence, so the first thing I did is I just headed to the corruption. I was ready to just take on the Eater of Worlds. Once I got down there, I started breaking the orbs and I was on the final one. I honestly felt like I could not lose. And to be honest, I completely cheesed this boss. And now thanks to this mod, I can quite honestly say I had an easy time beating the Eater of Worlds with a copper short sword. After that, I decided to go mining again and ended up coming across the best biome in the game, the mushroom biome. Even though this one didn't have any good loot in it, it's genuinely the best biome in the game because it can contain the vanity set, the Toad, which is the absolute goat of the vanity sets in the game. Shortly after, I did a little bit more mining and I came across a heart crystal. This is when I decided I had enough health to fight Skeletron. Usually I like to have all 20 hearts, but I was very overconfident right here. The second I was back on the service, I wasted no time. I used a gravitation potion and I straight away started looking for the dungeon. I was determined I was going to beat Skeletron tonight without an issue. On the way though, I did end up finding a sky island, so I had to check it out. What I ended up finding is a shiny red balloon. Nothing useful to me at this point in the game, but it was nice to have. Once I finally made it to the dungeon, I did head inside for a second just to see if there's a chest at the top. Sadly, there wasn't. Afterwards, I started making an arena. I didn't even feel like I needed one. I felt like I was just going to tear through Skeletron, but I made one anyway. The second it started turning nighttime, I just started going back and forth. I was just waiting for it to actually turn nighttime so I could spawn in Skeletron. That is why the second I could, I didn't even waste any time. I spawned him right in, and here we go. Alright, I'm actually going to end the video off there. This was an incredibly fun mod to play with. I would recommend it 100%. I also just want to quickly say thanks to everyone in the Discord. You guys are all amazing. I have amazing conversations with all of you. If anyone else wants to join, the link is on my channel profile, and I'll see you there.